At the beginning, the fear of the Lord kept all the enemies at bay. But somehow now, the Lord allowed all this to come upon them. But you know, Jehoshaphat, he was not afraid. When he heard this, he went to seek the Lord. And when the problem came, you know, he just ran back to the Lord, whom he had been walking with already. He didn't put his trust in the armies that had been building up and those mighty men of valor that he'd been training, you know, all these years. And he didn't put any trust in those walls that he'd been building and those castles. No, he came to ask God for help. And he could ask him for help because he knew God. And not only that, all the people rallied around him and prayed with him as well, and to seek God together with Jehoshaphat. Why? Because he had been preparing for this moment. He had been preparing for this time. The teaching priests and Levites and even the judges that empowered them, they were the ones that had been teaching the people. And when the crisis came, everybody was ready. You know, friends, when we don't make prayer a habit, when trouble comes, it just makes us panic. It makes us to run here and there. We go crazy. But not so with Jehoshaphat. Look at this. Conflict and Courage 2:17, paragraph 2. Jehoshaphat was a man of courage and valor. For years he had been strengthening his armies and his fortified cities. He was well prepared to meet almost any foe. Yet in this crisis, he put not his trust in the arm of flesh. Not by disciplined armies and fenced cities, but by a living faith in the God of Israel could he hope to gain the victory over these heathen who boasted of their power to humble Judah in the eyes of the nation. You know, we're told here that he had right to trust in his fenced cities, in his armies, but he didn't. He ran straight to God. He ran directly to God in prayer. And we read in 2 Chronicles chapter 20 from verse 5 to 12, that prayer. You can go back and read all about it. But look at what we continue to read in Conflict and Courage 2:17 now, paragraph 4. Look at this. With confidence, Jehoshaphat could say to the Lord, "Our eyes are upon thee." For years he had taught the people to trust in the one who in past ages had so often interposed to save his chosen ones from utter destruction. And now, when the kingdom was in peril, Jehoshaphat did not stand alone. All Judah stood before the Lord with their little ones, their wives, and their children. Unitedly, they fasted and prayed. Unitedly, they besought the Lord to put their enemies to confusion, that the name of Jehovah might be glorified. Friends, this is the power of teaching people the law of God, of going out there and teaching people the word of God. Jehoshaphat, in the time of crisis, he did not stand alone. For years, he had been teaching the people to trust in the one who had interposed to save them before. And now when the crisis now came upon them, because of their trust that they already had, none of them had to panic. They were okay. They could walk with God. They were fine. And they had their trust fully in Him alone. They prayed unitedly. They fasted unitedly. They sought the Lord unitedly. And the Lord worked mightily for them as well. But we keep reading in Conflict and Courage 2:17, now paragraph 5. God was the strength of Judah in this crisis. And He is the strength of His people today. When? Today. We are not to trust in princes or to set men in the place of God. We are to remember that human beings are fallible and erring, and that He who has all power is our strong tower of defense. In every emergency, we are to feel that the battle is His. His resources are limitless, and apparent impossibilities will make the victory all the greater. You see, friends, the battle is not ours to fight. Sometimes we think the trial comes upon me. It's my problem. It's my battle. I have to do something. But if we've learned to trust in God, if we've learned to spend time with the Lord, if we have made Him our trust and our all-sufficiency, we have nothing to worry about. And so, look at what Jehoshaphat hears from God. Look at what God says to him and communicates with him in answer to his prayer. Now God comes in 2 Chronicles chapter 20 and verse 17. Look at what he says. You shall not need to fight this battle. Set yourselves, stand ye still, and see the salvation of the Lord with you, O Judah and Jerusalem. Fear not, nor be dismayed. Tomorrow go out against them, for the Lord will be with you. Do you see what God says there? He says what? Stand still. Stop running around. You're not going to need to fight. And you see, friends, if we have done all that we can to prepare for a coming crisis, when that coming crisis comes, and we've done all that we need to do, we can stand still. We can be calm. But when we know that we've not done our very best, when we know that we've left things to the last minute, that's where we're found running around doing this and doing that and preparing this and preparing that. But in the time of crisis, when Jehoshaphat knew, I've done all that I can, God, he could rest. When God says, stand still, he knew that he could, because he had done his very best in times of peace. Friends, in the similar manner, when we are walking with God, when we are spending time with Him on a daily basis, when we are experiencing the small victories, when we are seeing God revive our land and our church and our home and our personal lives, when the crisis comes, we know that God will fight for us, because we know that He's already been with us and will continue to be with us through that crisis.